stor opgave, som Europa står overfor. Og på mange måder, som jeg har sagt før, så bliver det her også en skæbnestund for Europa og for EU. Jeg er overbevist om, at der stadigvæk er et stærkt amerikansk engagement i Europa. Men når det så er sagt, så er det jo ikke nogen hemmelighed, at Europa kommer til nu at tage et meget større ansvar, ikke mindst i forhold til den finansielle støtte til Ukraine. Og der er der jo også brug for i dag at komme med et opråb. Der er for få lande, der bidrager substantielt til at udbygge den ukrainske forsvarsindustri. Danmark er jo gået foran med et godt eksempel med den danske model, som høster stor opbakning internationalt. Det vi mangler, det er flere penge. Og så håber jeg så også, at vi i dag kommer til at diskutere det, som jeg selv vurderer vil være et gennembrud. Altså invitationen af ukrainske forsvarsvirksomheder til Europa, sådan at man kan starte produktionen op her i Europa i et mere trygt miljø.
Vi skal også diskutere EU's plan om at være klar til 2030 til sit eget forsvar. Vi kigger på, hvordan forskellige grupper af lande måske kan sætte sig i spidsen for forskellige områder. Er der nogle planer, hvor Danmark har tænkt sig at gå sammen med andre og gå i spidsen for noget?
Den måde, jeg tror, vi bedst kan være i stand til at levere på 2030-mål, det er et meget, meget stærkt samarbejde med den ukrainske forsvarsindustri. Det er jo ikke mere end nogle få dage siden, at jeg selv var i Ukraine igen. Den innovative udvikling, der sker i Ukraine i de her år, og ikke mindst måneder, er så enorm, at hvis vi bliver bedre til at omsætte nogle af deres erfaringer ind i den europæiske forsvarsindustri, så tror jeg faktisk, at vi kan få en meget, meget hurtig kampkraft, og også en billigere kampkraft, end det vi ellers ser udvikle sig i øjeblikket.
Du taler for, at der skal investeres mere i Ukraines forsvarsindustri i Ukraine. Hvor mange penge er der brug for, og kan Europa levere hele det beløb uden?
I øjeblikket er der 17 milliarder US$ i ledig produktionskapacitet i den ukrainske forsvarsindustri. De har en samlet forsvarsindustri, der er i stand til at producere for 40 milliarder US$. Så stort set halvdelen af beløbet står i dag hen uden at være finansieret. Jeg synes jo, at Europa nu for alvor skulle ruske op i sig selv, tage sig sammen, og så også være med til at finansiere en del af de der 17 milliarder af US$. Det vil være umiddelbar kampkraft med det samme, og det vil også være våbensystemer, der kan leveres, ikke inden for år, men inden for måneder. Så det bliver jo også en del af drøftelserne. Det havde vi også lejlighed til at diskutere i går med nogle af de kolleger, der var til den uformelle del af mødet i går.
Der har også tale om, at der skal oprettes en europæisk internationalt klima europæisk. Er det noget, jeg skal tale om i dag?
Det forventer jeg ikke, vi skal diskutere her i dag. Den diskussion, der finder sted omkring, hvad der potentielt sker, når der måtte komme en fred eller en afslutning af krigen i Ukraine, det er jo en diskussion, der foregår i det, der hedder Coalition of the Willing. Så det er ikke her, vi kommer til at diskutere det. Men det er klart, at europæiske lande skal jo bidrage til at være med til at give sikkerhedsgarantier til Ukraine. Det kan man gøre både gennem soldater, men det kan man også gøre gennem det, jeg understregede før, investeringer direkte ind i den ukrainske forsvarsindustri, for det er det, der kan give ukrainerne den størst mulige kampkraft hurtigst muligt.
Hvilke sikkerhedsgarantier er Danmark klar til at give til Ukraine i projektet?
Ja, den første sikkerhedsgaranti, som vi allerede er i gang med at give, og hvor Danmark har gjort en helt ekstraordinær indsats, det er jo investeringer direkte ind i den ukrainske forsvarsindustri. Det er jo ikke mindst Zelensky meget taknemmelig over for den nye ukrainske forsvarsminister. Diskuterede jeg også det her spørgsmål med i søndags. Og det i kombination med så også at invitere ukrainske forsvarsvirksomheder til Europa, til Danmark, det vil jo så kunne give en endnu større tryghed for, at det, der er brug for på slagmarkene, det også bliver produceret. Det er jo ikke nogen hemmelighed, at de ukrainske forsvarsvirksomheder er under massiv bombardement i hele Ukraine. Derudover så har vi jo også sagt, at vi er åbne over for, hvis vi kommer dertil, at se på, om danske soldater skal deltage i en sikkerhedsgaranti. Men det er for tidligt at diskutere, hvordan udformningen af de sikkerhedsgarantier skal se ud, for vi kender jo ikke, hvordan en mulig fred måtte komme til at se ud. Og jeg er også, som jeg har sagt før, dybt bekymret for, at Putin leger kispus med det internationale samfund. At vi ser noget af det, som vi så tilbage i slutningen af 30'erne med Chamberlain, som stod og troede, at der var fred i vores tid, og så endte det med en fuldskala krig. Jeg synes, der er mange ting, der kan minde om det, for jeg tror ikke, Putin har nogen reel vilje til en fredelig afslutning på krigen i Ukraine.
Rusland bliver ved med at afvise NATO-soldater på ukrainsk jord som en sikkerhedsgaranti i forbindelse med fredsaftale. Er der brug for at se på at finde nogle neutrale tredjelande, altså nogle lande, der ikke er medlem af NATO, som kan stille soldater til den her sikkerhedsgaranti?
Der er brug for, at det jo ikke kan være Putin, der dikterer, hvordan en fred skal se ud. Det må være en forhandlet fred, hvor Ukraine er helt afgørende for, hvordan resultatet måtte blive. Det er jo også den position, vi har i Europa. Det er også den position, Danmark har. Men når det så er sagt, så mangler vi jo stadigvæk at se en reel vilje fra russisk side til at ville freden. Jeg tror, det er 1 døgn siden, at nogle af de største bombardementer fandt sted over Kiev. Så det ser jo ikke ud, som om der er særlig stor vilje til fra russisk side at afslutte krigen. Tak. God morgen og velkommen her til Forum, hvor vi tager hul nu på dagens uformelle EU-forsvarsministermøde. Det er min klare forventning, at det, der kommer til at fylde allermest her i dag, og det er også det mest afgørende for Danmark, det er jo spørgsmålet omkring den fremadrettede støtte til Ukraine. Hele spørgsmålet omkring, hvordan vi i højere grad kan understøtte ukrainsk forsvarsindustri og dermed kampkraft i Ukraine, det er det, som jeg lægger vægt på, bliver det højst prioriterede tema her i dag. Derudover så kommer vi også til at diskutere europæisk forsvarsindustri og oprustning, så vi i højere grad kan få en hurtigere kampkraft, end det vi jo ellers generelt kan konstatere, at tilfældet er i øjeblikket her i Europa. Og endelig så forventer jeg selvfølgelig også, at vi skal drøfte de ting, der ligger på bordet under det danske EU-formandskab. Det er jo ikke mindst hele den her diskussion om, hvordan vi i højere grad kan få afbureaukratiseret nogle af de mange regler, der er på forsvarsområdet i forhold til at sikre en hurtigere opbygning af forsvarsindustrien i Europa.
Hvor meget større er den her opgave med at håndtere Ukraine nu, hvor vi ikke kan regne med samme opbakning fra USA som tidligere?
Det er en kæmpe stor opgave, som Europa står overfor, og på mange måder, som jeg har sagt før, så bliver det her også en skæbnestund for Europa og for EU. Jeg er overbevist om, at der stadigvæk er et stærkt amerikansk engagement i Europa, men når det så er sagt, så er det jo ikke nogen hemmelighed, at Europa kommer til nu at tage et meget større ansvar, ikke mindst i forhold til den finansielle støtte til Ukraine. Og der er der jo også brug for i dag at komme med et opråb. Der er for få lande, der bidrager substantielt til at udbygge den ukrainske forsvarsindustri. Danmark er jo gået foran med et godt eksempel med den danske model, som høster stor opbakning internationalt. Det vi mangler, det er flere penge. Og så håber jeg så også, at vi i dag kommer til at diskutere det, som jeg selv vurderer vil være et gennembrud. Altså invitationen af ukrainske forsvarsvirksomheder til Europa, sådan at man kan starte produktionen op her i Europa i et mere trygt miljø.
Vi skal også diskutere EU's plan om at være klar til 2030 til sit eget forsvar. Vi kigger på, hvordan forskellige grupper af lande måske kan sætte sig i spidsen for forskellige områder. Er der nogle planer, hvor Danmark har tænkt sig at gå sammen med andre og gå i spidsen for noget?
Den måde, jeg tror, vi bedst kan være i stand til at levere på 2030-mål, det er et meget, meget stærkt samarbejde med den ukrainske forsvarsindustri. Det er jo ikke mere end nogle få dage siden, at jeg selv var i Ukraine igen. Den innovative udvikling, der sker i Ukraine i de her år, og ikke mindst måneder, er så enorm, at hvis vi bliver bedre til at omsætte nogle af deres erfaringer ind i den europæiske forsvarsindustri, så tror jeg faktisk, at vi kan få en meget, meget hurtig kampkraft, og også en billigere kampkraft, end det vi ellers ser udvikle sig i øjeblikket.
Du taler for, at der skal investeres mere i Ukraines forsvarsindustri i Ukraine. Hvor mange penge er der brug for, og kan Europa levere hele det beløb uden?
I øjeblikket er der 17 milliarder US-dollars i ledig produktionskapacitet i den ukrainske forsvarsindustri. De har en samlet forsvarsindustri, der er i stand til at producere for 40 milliarder US-dollars. Så stort set halvdelen af beløbet står i dag hen uden at være finansieret. Jeg synes jo, at Europa nu for alvor skulle ruske op i sig selv, tage sig sammen, og så også være med til at finansiere en del af de der 17 milliarder af US-dollars. Det vil være umiddelbar kampkraft med det samme, og det vil også være våbensystemer, der kan leveres, ikke inden for år, men inden for måneder. Så det bliver jo også en del af drøftelserne. Det havde vi også lejlighed til at diskutere i går med nogle af de kolleger, der var til den uformelle del af mødet i går.
Der har også tale om, at der skal oprettes en europæisk international klima europæisk. Er det noget, I skal tale om i dag?
Det forventer jeg ikke, vi skal diskutere her i dag. Den diskussion, der finder sted omkring, hvad der potentielt sker, når der måtte komme en fred eller en afslutning af krigen i Ukraine, det er jo en diskussion, der foregår i det, der hedder Coalition of the Willing. Så det er ikke her, vi kommer til at diskutere det. Men det er klart, at europæiske lande skal jo bidrage til at være med til at give sikkerhedsgarantier til Ukraine. Det kan man gøre både gennem soldater, men det kan man også gøre gennem det, jeg understregede før, investeringer direkte ind i den ukrainske forsvarsindustri, for det er det, der kan give ukrainerne den størst mulige kampkraft hurtigst muligt.
Hvilke sikkerhedsgarantier er Danmark klar til at give til Ukraine i budgettet?
Den første sikkerhedsgaranti, som vi allerede er i gang med at give, og hvor Danmark har gjort en helt ekstraordinær indsats, det er jo investeringer direkte ind i den ukrainske forsvarsindustri. Det er jo ikke mindst Zelensky meget taknemmelig over for den nye ukrainske forsvarsminister, og diskuterede jeg også det her spørgsmål med i søndags. Og det i kombination med så også at invitere ukrainske forsvarsvirksomheder til Europa, til Danmark, det vil jo så kunne give en endnu større tryghed for, at det, der er brug for på slagmarkene, det også bliver produceret. Det er jo ikke nogen hemmelighed, at de ukrainske forsvarsvirksomheder er under massiv bombardement i hele Ukraine. Derudover så har vi jo også sagt, at vi er åbne over for, hvis vi kommer dertil, at se på, om danske soldater skal deltage i en sikkerhedsgaranti. Men det er for tidligt at diskutere, hvordan udformningen af de sikkerhedsgarantier skal se ud, for vi kender jo ikke, hvordan en mulig fred måtte komme til at se ud. Og jeg er også, som jeg har sagt før, dybt bekymret for, at Putin leger kispus med det internationale samfund. At vi ser noget af det, som vi så tilbage i slutningen af 30'erne med Chamberlain, som stod og troede, at der var fred i vores tid, og så endte det med en fuldskala krig. Jeg synes, der er mange ting, der kan minde om det, for jeg tror ikke, Putin har nogen reel vilje til en fredelig afslutning på krigen i Ukraine.
Rusland bliver ved med at afvise NATO-soldater på ukrainsk jord som en sikkerhedsgaranti i forbindelse med fredsaftale. Er der brug for at se på at finde nogle neutrale tredjelande, altså nogle lande, der ikke er medlem af NATO, som kan stille soldater til den her sikkerhedsgaranti?
Der er brug for, at det jo ikke kan være Putin, der dikterer, hvordan en fred skal se ud. Det må være en forhandlet fred, hvor Ukraine er helt afgørende for, hvordan resultatet måtte blive. Det er jo også den position, vi har i Europa, det er også den position, Danmark har. Men når det så er sagt, så mangler vi jo stadigvæk at se en reel vilje fra russisk side til at ville freden. Jeg tror, det er 1 døgn siden, at nogle af de største bombardementer fandt sted over Kiev. Så det ser jo ikke ud som om, der er særlig stor vilje til fra russisk side at afslutte krigen. Tak.
Good to be here in Denmark. We have Gimlich meetings coming, so today it's the defense ministers and tomorrow it's going to be the foreign ministers. Of course, the main topic we have is Russia's war against Ukraine. We saw yesterday the huge attacks on Kiev. Also, European delegation was hit. Fortunately, nobody was hurt physically, but still, I mean, these attacks show that Putin is just mocking any kind of peace efforts that are made. So what we have to do is increase pressure on Russia, and this is really what they understand, the pressure. And then a second topic we are going to discuss today is defense readiness. It is clear that we have different capability areas where we have to do more, and I expect member states to take lead in those capability areas. So we have to be very concrete to go with the concrete projects, how we move on. And then, of course, other topics are going to be on a Foreign Affairs Council as well. Middle East, of course, there we have really no improvement. But when it comes to Iran, then you know all that yesterday the snapback was started. So we are entering a new phase, this 30 days that is now giving us also the opportunity to really find diplomatic ways to find a solution. Thank you.
Your Prime Minister called the snapback decision illegal and unjustified. Is he wrong?
Well, this is their claim all the time, but if you read the JCPOA and the conditions that are there, then Iran hasn't met those conditions for quite some time. So it is the decision of E3, and of course now we have this 30 days to sort things out and maybe have a different solution.
What's your advice to him at all?
Excuse me?
You had a call with them yesterday. What was your advice to them in the call after this decision was made?
This is that the 30 days we have to really use to find solutions, diplomatic solutions, how we go forward. And this is the worries that we have with Iran are very clear when it comes to their nuclear program, when it comes to their ballistic missiles, also their support to Russia.
Will you also be discussing the security guarantees for that rollout? How can we make a unified position out of the EU 27? How is it like to bring in countries like Austria that consider themselves neutral?
When we talk about on the European Union level, then what is our contribution to the security guarantees is the training mission, military mission, and also the support for defense industry of Ukraine. So all these three elements, also the neutral countries can participate. We are discussing today how to change the mandate of those missions in order to be ready after any peace agreement is put in place. So, and of course, every member state is deciding what they are doing or how they are contributing to the security guarantees. But European Union, we have the missions, training mission and the civilian mission.
What do you think about boots on the ground?
It is the decision of every single member state. So we have already heard that some member states are saying and sending their or ready to send their troops. Some are not ready, but these discussions are still ongoing. And I think it's very important that we are preparing for the day after.
But how do you want to ensure the safety of boots on the ground when Russia repeatedly says that they don't want to have Western troops in Ukraine?
Well, again, Russia does not want peace. That is very clear right now, also the attacks that they are doing. So we have to put the pressure on them so that they would also want peace. And this is the only thing that works on that.
How do you increase the pressure, High Representative? What would you like to see next in terms of measures against Moscow?
Yes, we are working on the next package, and there are several options on the table. Of course, what will hurt them the most is any sanctions on energy and all the secondary sanctions that Americans have put, for example, but also financial services that really hinder them the access to capital, what they so desperately need.
How do you appetite for that among member states to go that far?
Well, the discussions are ongoing, and as you know, we always put a lot of things on the table, and then eventually we have to agree. But these discussions are ongoing, and everybody understands that. Considering how Putin is mocking the peace efforts, the only thing that works is pressure.
Do you have a question about Greenland?
What do you say to critics that say Kyiv needs backup now, particularly in light of the devastating shelling reports? What security guarantees in the future?
Didn't hear your first part of the question, though.
You say to critics that say that Ukraine needs backup now, support now, particularly in light of the devastating reports?
Yes. Ukraine needs backup now, and Ukraine needs all the military support right now, and that's why we are also discussing with the defense ministers what more can we do now. We have the ammunition initiative, and we have put a deadline in the end of this year. We are discussing whether we can bring it forward because they desperately need ammunition, they desperately need air defense, all these things. So this is also something what we need to discuss right now. When it comes to security guarantees, of course, we are talking about the day after, but as I said, it's not close if you look at what Putin is doing.
Do you think there could be quite a big interest in Greenland? Is there any joint EU efforts to offer some safety guarantees in case they were to attack?
Well, of course, we are respecting the Greenland's decisions, whatever they want to decide, and also we are supporting Denmark as EU member state. So we are in this together. We are unified, and whatever Denmark needs as a good member state, everybody else is in solidarity with Denmark. Thank you very much.
Do you think that it's possible to train Ukrainian troops in the western part of Ukraine already before a ceasefire agreement?
These discussions are ongoing, but there is appetite to do the training when there is ceasefire. But we can discuss, if we talk about changing the mandate, then we can discuss how much member states are willing to even to do it before the ceasefire is in place. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, good morning.
Hello. Good morning, hello.
Nice to see you again.
My pleasure. You can stay here for a photo.
Oh, very good.
Please, okay, so we can do. Great, thank you very much. And
it's a setup like straight. Stand by the the light is not there. Maybe we can move that back.
Yeah, please.
Guten Morgen, meine Damen und Herren. Ich freue mich, heute hier in Kopenhagen sein zu dürfen. Wir haben eine volle Agenda. Es geht im Kern um 2 Punkte, wie wir die Ukrainer als Europäerinnen und Europäer bestmöglich auch in Zukunft unterstützen können. Und zum Zweiten, wie wir unsere eigene Verteidigungsfähigkeit aufbereiten und auch stärken können. Die zentrale Botschaft ist, die Ukraine kann sich auf Deutschland, kann sich auf Europa verlassen. Das ist ein wesentlicher Punkt auch unserer Unterstützungshandlung, Stichwort Luftverteidigung. Wir sind stolz darauf, dass wir über neue Wege und Mechanismen auch sehr kurzfristig unterstützen konnten mit den 2 Patriot-Systemen. Wir möchten an dieser Stelle aber auch Dankbarkeit Norwegen zum Beispiel als Partner, was die finanzielle Unterstützung angeht, deutlich machen. Wir gehen voran als Zeichen der Solidarität und der Unterstützung der Ukraine auch in unserem ureigenen Interesse. Die Ukraine wird sich weiter auf die Unterstützung Europas verlassen können. Die Munitionsinitiative der Hohen Vertreterin ist ein weiteres Beispiel. Insgesamt kann die Ukraine so über 2 Millionen zusätzliche Schuss verfügen. Das ist ganz entscheidend in dieser Situation. Davon liefert Deutschland einen ganz gewichtigen Anteil. Denn wir müssen die Ukraine gerade in dieser entscheidenden Phase in eine Position der Stärke bringen und auch in einer weiteren Position der Verteidigungsfähigkeit halten. Zum Stichwort Nummer 2, Stärkung der eigenen Verteidigungsfähigkeit. Hier geht es darum, mehr europäische Souveränität, mehr europäische Verantwortung zu übernehmen. Wir übernehmen als Europa Verantwortung für unsere eigene Sicherheit. Wir können uns Fähigkeitslücken nicht weiter leisten. Das dürfen wir allerdings nicht nur benennen, sondern tatsächlich auch Wege aufzeigen, wie wir entsprechende Produktionskapazitäten entsprechend aufbereiten können, aber auch die Wege der Beschaffung deutlich beschleunigen können. Deutschland hat ja ein hohes Interesse daran, denn auch Deutschland nimmt eine Menge Geld in die Hand. Das ist etwas, was nun auch auf die Straße kommen muss, an Energie, an Kraft, die wir haben. Wir begrüßen außerordentlich Initiativen, die Europa auf den Weg gebracht hat, SAFE zum Beispiel als Instrument. Ein weiterer Stichpunkt ist auch das Government-to-Government-Konzept. Wir haben gute Erfahrungen gemacht mit der Plattform, warum Verträge und entsprechende Konzepte doppelt und mehrfach verhandeln. Auch das ist ein Weg der Beschleunigung und das ist eine Form der Kooperation mit den Mitgliedstaaten, die wir sehr begrüßen. Deutschland hat über 20 Projekte dort eingebracht. Wir wollen als weiteres auch den Lead-Nation-Ansatz nutzen, um als deutschen Beitrag auch zu zeigen, wir gehen voran, wir öffnen unsere Wege auch. Stichworte sind hier auch zum Beispiel die Luftverteidigung. So können auch andere Mitgliedstaaten von dem, was wir vorverhandelt haben, entsprechend priorisieren. Beide Initiativen sind entscheidend für die europäische Sicherheit, für unsere eigene Souveränität und Verteidigungsfähigkeit. Wir gehen voran. Wir haben in Kopenhagen eine Menge zu diskutieren. Ich freue mich auf den Austausch. Herzlichen Dank.
Was kann Deutschland denn bei Sicherheitsgarantien leisten?
Deutschland wird in einem Verbund mit seinen Partnern weitere Initiativen ergreifen, wie wir es in der Vergangenheit getan haben. Ich habe etwas zur Munitionsinitiative gesagt. Ich habe aber auch etwas gesagt zur Stärkung der Position der Ukraine, um in eine Position der Verhandlung zu kommen. Selbstverständlich muss an einer Position auch erreicht werden, dass man zu einem Waffenstillstand kommt und entsprechend die Ukraine aus der Position der Stärke verhandeln und ihre eigene Sicherheit und die Definition ihrer Souveränität auch weiter behalten wird. Dazu wird Deutschland weiterhin jede Unterstützung leisten. Herzlichen Dank.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be in Copenhagen for this meeting, informal meeting of European defense ministers. It's very important to meet also under the Danish presidency, so I thank them very much for organizing this. This morning we will be normally hearing from our new Ukrainian colleague, defense minister, former prime minister of Ukraine, that I also had the chance to meet during my last trip to Ukraine. I want to start by saying that I also absolutely condemn the recent attack on civilians in Kiev. It's absolutely condemnable what is happening. Also the damage that was caused to the EU delegation in Kiev. So this is not what should be happening when we are looking for a ceasefire and eventually a ceasefire and a peace plan, which is what we need, which is what we strive for. And in that context, we know that we need to continue to support support Ukraine. Luxembourg has done so since day one. We will continue to do so. Military support from Luxembourg to Ukraine also for this year will be stepped up by 50%. So we will be on the right side of history to continue to defend Ukraine. At the same time, Luxembourg is also part of the discussions in the context of the coalition of the willing, which is also important once we have moved further along the road and a possible ceasefire, which we very much hope for, will be possible. At the same time, discussions are taking place about further industrial collaboration between European and Ukrainian companies. Also, this aspect is vital, be it in the context of EDIP or the SAFE programs, which we very much support. Concerning defense readiness, also there Europe needs to step it up. We have the white paper. We also have Rearm Europe plans, which are very important and which we, of course, support. Now we need to implement this very swiftly. Defense capabilities, which we are all also working on, absolutely vital for our defense. We need to collaborate on a European level also more effectively and efficiently. These are the discussions that are taking place today. We also need true joint procurement in order to advance. These are all aspects that Luxembourg really supports. Of course, NATO remains the bedrock of our collective defense, of our collective security and deterrence. We want to continue to strengthen the European pillar within NATO, because this will strengthen NATO, and that is what we need to achieve for peace and security also in Europe. Thank you. Mais je crois qu'on est tous tenus à continuer à soutenir de façon militaire avec des équipements et des collaborations plus étroites, parce qu'une perte de cette guerre de l'Ukraine, c'est une perte pour nous tous et on ne peut pas se le permettre.
The HRBT wants to enlarge the mandate to also offer Ukraine to Ukrainians, so just inside Ukraine. Is your country okay with that, even before ceasefire?
I think these are discussions that need to take place. Ceasefire is absolutely vital, I think, for training to be able to take place within Ukraine. But I think here also the Ukrainian point of view needs to be taken into consideration. We need to make sure that the mandate also lives up to expectations of the Ukrainians and how we all together can contribute the most effectively. Thank you very much. We are already contributing to the formation of Ukrainian soldiers. Of course, this is taking place outside of Ukraine. So these are discussions that are taking place. I think Luxembourg will contribute in every way it can once a ceasefire is in place, but we need a ceasefire. Thank you very much.
So, as we all understand, hopes of possible peace negotiations are at least naive. One would look what is happening in Ukraine, what just happened yesterday, when 23 people were killed in Kiev, when diplomatic missions were bombed, when we see that all Putin is doing is really stalling, actually cheaply buying time to kill more people and to imitate sort of willingness to maybe stop his own murderous actions. So Lithuania is going to keep supporting Ukraine. We are going to keep our 0.25 GDP for Ukraine as a minimum. We have now around 0.3 GDP, and we are also joining the plural format, the prioritized list of Ukraine's weapons, and we will contribute up to 30 million to that. As you know, we are rebooting our government. We are going to finalize in a couple of weeks, and we are going to start this process as soon as possible. We are also going to contribute to acquisition of Patriot systems for Ukraine. And in the coalition of the willing, you've seen that Lithuania from the very beginning has had a very clear stance. If we will be needed in Ukraine, if finally the ceasefire will happen, then we will go to the parliament, we will talk to our political parties. Lithuania's position is very clear. Putin is not to be trusted.
Will we discuss security guarantees today, and how should they look like?
Well, the best security guarantee is twofold: strong Ukrainian army and pressure on Russia. Secondary sanctions on Russia would be the first and most efficient method, most efficient mechanism to stop cash flow to Russian war machine.
After seeing Putin, what is Putin doing and not doing, did Washington fail at the end?
I think that this process is ongoing. Regretfully, nobody thought of anything better than Washington is doing, so we really commend all the efforts that are trying to bring us closer to saving Ukraine. But one thing cannot happen. We cannot, in this world, which is still based on international world order, on international rules, we cannot trade land of independent countries. But what I see from what is happening in the United States, their narrative of assuming the bigger role in security guarantees for Ukraine is really giving us hope. It's very, very important. So, sorry.
Given your position at the East of Europe, do you see enough solidarity among the EU 27?
Well, I've seen a very positive progress. When we look at defense financing, we were in a very small minority talking about necessity to have 5% for defense. We have made our decision in January this year, but in Hague Summit, as you've seen, even with longer dates and formula 3.5 plus 1.5, but 5% is understandable and agreeable to everyone. So the progress is very positive.
Do you believe that boots on the ground are also a viable option for security?
I'm sorry?
Do you believe that boots on the ground are also a viable option for security guarantees?
Well, for that, the ceasefire must happen. Does Putin want ceasefire? So far, I don't believe it. What would be the motivation for Putin? Pressure, sanctions. He does not believe any compromises. He actually only gets escalated if you are nice to him.
A question on the training mission, please. The HRVP wants to change the mandate to make it possible to also train Ukrainian soldiers on their own soil, which is something your country has been pushing for quite some time.
We completely support that, because we need to use every possible format. We need to be where Ukraine needs us to be and to actually be as efficient as possible. So therefore, yes, we have been supporting that format.
And is it safe enough to do this even if there is no ceasefire in place?
When we talk about training missions, the format is a bit different. And is it safe when Russia keeps bombing? No, it's not safe. But that's why I hope that together with my colleagues, we will find certain solutions. We feel that we can do more for Ukraine. Ukraine is what stands between us and Russia.
One emotional question. What was your feeling? Were your feelings when you saw those pictures of Putin on the red carpet in Oslo?
I think that we all had very similar feelings. Seeing bloody murderer on a red carpet is not a joyful view for any one of us. However, as I said, nobody has thought of any ingenious solution. So the United States' efforts are commendable. They are trying to do what they see fit. We will see how that game ends. So we are grateful for United States' really critical support for Ukraine, and we hope it continues.
Do you trust Trump supporting security guarantees?
Well, the narrative has been positively changing over the past few months, especially the past few weeks. So let's see.
Does there really have capacity to provide soldiers to Ukraine at the same time protecting NATO's eastern flank?
Sometimes it's not about what you want to do, sometimes it's about what you have to do. So as you know, we are all really rebuilding or strengthening our armed forces very fast. We are all building the defense industry, and actually Ukraine has created immense added value with their defense industry, with their defense technologies, which I've seen in Kiev on Sunday when I was there and had meetings with President Zelensky and Denis Shmyhal. So I think that that actually is one power that we are not using enough yet. And over 200 billion of Russian assets would be extremely helpful in both pumping this money in Ukrainian defense industry, in buying American weapons, and that, I believe, would be very good motivation for Putin to sit at the negotiation table for, I hope, for a good decision in G7. Thank you.
Hello, I'm delighted to be here representing Ireland today at this really important time, I think, for European ministers to come together and discuss a range of conflicts in the world. I must say I'm absolutely appalled by the actions of Russia in terms of the attack on Kyiv and indeed the attack on the European delegation office there. This cannot be a consequence-free zone. I have instructed my officials to demarche the Russian diplomats in Ireland, but I think it's very important that the entire world speaks with one voice in its absolute condemnation of Russia's clear breach of the Vienna Convention. What's also clear is that while the world is talking about peace and how do we bring about peace and dialogue and diplomacy to end the war on Ukraine, it's quite clear that Russia is continuing to engage in the actions of terror, attacking a civilian population, showing no willingness for a ceasefire, and therefore I think it's imperative that those of us in the European Union now consider further sanctions. What more measures can be taken to increase the pressure on Russia to end this brutal, aggressive war on Ukraine and the huge impact that that's having on civilians? Can I also say, yesterday the United Nations Security Council decided to renew the mandate for the UNIFIL peacekeeping mission in Lebanon. This is a mission that Ireland has been involved in for many, many decades. So many thousands of people serving from Ireland in Lebanon with distinction, and indeed 47 Irish soldiers losing their life for the cause of peace in Lebanon. I think it's really important that the time now that exists between now and the end of 2027 is used and used well in terms of supporting the Lebanese armed forces. And I certainly intend to discuss with colleagues here today how the European Union can consider using our mechanisms in terms of providing training and support for the Lebanese armed forces. We've already done it in relation to Ukraine, we've done it in relation to Bosnia, and I think we really need to see now under the CDSP what we could do usefully to try and train and support the Lebanese armed forces. Certainly Ireland would be willing to have that conversation, and I look forward to starting that conversation and in the coming weeks tabling a paper to propose that Europe would consider a training mission specifically to help the Lebanese armed forces increase their capabilities in the time ahead.
The question, are there going to be any conversations about reaching an agreement on the situation in Gaza, on if there will be any measures connected to the ongoing conflict?
Yeah, when I attend the Gymnich later today and tomorrow, I'll be making the point very clearly on behalf of the people of Ireland that the time for words of condemnation must end. Words of condemnation are important, but they're clearly not enough. We in Ireland have been arguing for a very long time that there needed to be a review of the association agreement between the EU and Israel. That finally happened. That found very clearly that Israel is absolutely in breach of its human rights obligations. Some member states asked for time to be given to Israel to rectify the situation. That simply has not happened. And the world is now looking to Europe to see, from a credibility point of view, are we now willing to act? There are 10 different areas that Europe has identified where sanctions or measures could be taken against Israel. It is absolutely imperative now that Europe matches its words of condemnation with concrete actions against Israel to help bring about a ceasefire, see a surge in humanitarian aid, and of course see the release of all the hostages. And I look forward to talking with colleagues about that. There's a whole spectrum of actions that could be taken under the association agreement to show Israel that Europe actually stands up for its values.
A quick question about US interest for Greenland. They've not approved military operation there. Is there any? What's our view in relation to supporting Denmark and Greenland in that regard?
Well, Ireland fully supports and stands with the people of Denmark and the Danish government in relation to Greenland. And I think it's important that every country in the European Union stands with Denmark in relation to this matter. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. We're, of course, excited to be in Denmark and Copenhagen during the Danish presidency. We greatly appreciate the leadership that Denmark has provided us in the support for Ukraine. I expect a lot of our decisions today are actually going to be focused on how we can step up and further develop support to Ukraine. Several of the ministers are here also, of course, in Kyiv and in Ukraine during the celebration of Independence Day in Ukraine. So that's one of the things that I think how we can step and what we can do. Let me say on a personal basis, being in Kyiv and also in Odessa, that I'm encouraged to see what the Ukrainians are accomplishing when it comes to drone and using autonomy, also what they've done also to ramp up their production. The Danish model has been proven very useful. It seems like the Ukrainian defense industrial base can absorb billions of euros, and that would be a good way also to stepping up European support for the Ukrainians, because they're going to need their support for some time to come.
What security guarantees of Ukraine?
Sorry.
What security guarantees of Ukraine look like from the Swedish perspective?
Well, I think that goes back to what kind of a mission it would include, but I think it would be important to have a U.S. engagement into having a presence of the coalition of the willing. Of course, my Prime Minister stated that if conditions are met, we could make contributions in the air domain or in the maritime domain as well, and I would expect it also to be robust in that regard, and then we would have a dialogue with the Ukrainians on what their needs and expectations are as well. But I think quite a lot of focus would be on regenerating the Ukrainian armed forces as well.
What do you think about EU boots on the ground?
Yeah, if conditions are met, that's certainly something that could be taken into deliberations as well. That's, of course, just as a coalition of the willing, I think it's pending on having either a ceasefire or a peace agreement before there will be a consensus for that thing to be happening. But I think it's a natural development.
Or do you want to force Russia to accept Western security guarantees?
Well, I think the road to peace goes with two vehicles. One is increased support to the Ukrainian armed forces. The other one is increasing sanctions and pressures. Putin will not move unless there's more pressure on Russia to come to the negotiation table and be serious about it.
Your country changed its position on neutrality, given the attacks on the EU building. Can they agree on the role for neutrality now at this point?
Well, as you know, due to Russia's full-scale invasion into Ukraine, Sweden and Finland changed our postures, and we're part of NATO now. We're safer, NATO is stronger. For us, this has been a good way to strengthen the northern flank in NATO. So that's. But of course, we were not neutral when we were militarily non-aligned, but we're still part of a political union. Of course, we stand in solidarity, of course, with on the European basis also, and condemn what happened on the office in Kiev as well. All right, thank you.
A couple of remarks. First of all, I would like to thank Danish presidency and Denmark, because one is hospitality, but the other thing is what Denmark has done for Ukraine. It is remarkable, and it's good to be here in Copenhagen. Secondly, of course, when we talk about Ukraine, then we all saw what happened a couple of days ago in Kiev when Russians also bombed the EU representation. And this is outrageous, and once again proves that we need to continue with the help to Ukraine. I'm happy to see that also for the next fiscal years we have now the proposition from the Commission, which is much higher as before for defense. This is good news. But of course now we have to see how we can quickly implement this, and regarding the implementation, the problem still is with the European Peace Facility. It's not understandable why we cannot use these funds and we cannot release this to help Ukraine more. So many things to discuss. Training, EUMAM, of course there is no question Estonia supports to continue that. And I really do hope that we will see some progress today after the meeting in all these topics.
Minister, how do you see the current debate on security guarantees for Ukraine? What could be Estonia's part in that? And is it actually realistic that outside countries can guarantee Ukraine's security?
Well, of course it is realistic. We are still in the position that the best security guarantee for Ukraine would be the membership in NATO. But as it takes time, we need to find other solutions. Estonia said already from the very beginning that when we talk about the coalition of the willing, then we are ready to contribute immediately after the ceasefire, and we have to see how the other allies will continue. We said that the company size unit is something we are considering and we are ready to deploy. And when you ask that is it realistic, yes it is. Yes it is. We see that also from the foreign land forces which are on the eastern flank. these are effective and we can provide the security and deterrence also for Russia.
But those forces are backed by Article 5, right? I mean, is it a realistic deterrent? Do you need the US to be playing a big role now to make it?
The US has to be, of course, together with us. This is I believe, clear for everyone, and we have to understand that we have at the moment not very clear idea how it will be, but nevertheless we are working on that, and I believe that the last meeting also with the leaders, with President Trump, made some progress here.
How do you want to force Russia to accept Western?
Well, as I see it, it's not Russia who can say what we are doing in Ukraine, and we have to agree with Ukraine. And of course, when US will be together with us, then this is much stronger message. So, and then I would say in bigger understanding, let's be more self-confident that we have here in Europe 500 million people. We have much stronger economy, and we have much more military power. So when we show a bit more self-confidence, then we can be also better with our results.
Are you clear on how the US would concretely help? You've spoken about some things, but can you give any specific guarantees?
Regarding the United States?
With the security guarantees from the US?
Well, it's in the process. So there has been some discussion that it might be some backstop, it might be some additional intelligence information, whatever. But let's do not speculate. Let's work on that together with our US friends, and then when we can already see some clear results, then we can also comment this.
After Putin is not willing to negotiate, did Washington pay?
Well, I would say that in last weeks we've seen that there is some more clarity. Of course, we need to work together with the United States, and I really do hope that also not only the White House but also the Pentagon and the State Department they see how important it is to continue with the military assistance to Ukraine, because otherwise Ukrainians cannot defend their country and their people. So I'm not saying that anyone has failed. I'm saying that we need to keep continuing pushing the Russians and helping Ukraine. So thank you very much.
Yes. One question on the training issue, please. The HRVP wants to change the mandate to make it possible to train Ukrainian soldiers on their own soil. Would you support this even if there is no ceasefire in place?
Estonia has said that we are ready to consider this, and then we are ready to go also to Ukraine. Now, of course, that means that when we do the EU MAM also in Ukraine, first Ukrainians have to be ready for that. It's not only that we are sending someone. It's a huge logistical operation. It's a huge security operation. Even when the ceasefire is there, you never know when Russia will break the ceasefire. So this is why let's work on that. Let's work together with the Ukrainians. When they want us to be there, we have to be ready for that. When they want us to train Ukrainians in Poland, we will do that. So we are open for everything.
But haven't they already asked?
Well, there are different. Let's wait for today. Let's see, where we end up, and then we can also maybe have more clarity on the EU map. Thank you.
Guten Morgen. Wir werden uns heute über die aktuelle Situation in der Ukraine und die Unterstützung unterhalten und dann natürlich auch insbesondere, was die Verteidigungsindustriestrategie anbelangt, passt für uns in Österreich durchaus sehr gut, weil es mit unserem Aufbauplan 2032 auch zusammenpasst. Thema werden natürlich auch die Missionen sein. Unser Fokus von österreichischer Seite liegt am Westbalkan auf der einen Seite, dann natürlich auch in UNIFIL, das ist auch eines unserer größten Kontingente. Und wir begrüßen es sehr, dass die Mission jetzt verlängert worden ist und somit ein geordneter Abzug.
Sicherheitsgarantien, welche Rolle kann denn Österreich einnehmen? Die Rede ist von Ausbildungsmissionen auf ukrainischem Boden. Wie kann sich Österreich da positionieren?
Aus meiner Sicht ist das eine sehr philosophische Diskussion, wenn wir jetzt die Situation sehen in der Ukraine, gerade auch aktuell, dann ist der Friede ja noch weit. Das heißt, wie kann man über eine Friedensmission zum jetzigen Zeitpunkt auch sprechen? Das ist viel zu früh. Das heißt, zunächst muss der Friede da sein. Dann geht es um die Frage, welches Mandat hier möglich ist. Und erst dann geht es darum, wie wir uns hier beteiligen können. Das machen wir bei jeder Mission so.
Putin greift mittlerweile EU-Vertretungen auf ukrainischem Boden in Kiew an. Verändert das unsere Position, wie wir Österreich daran zu finden?
reagieren auf was unsere Haltung betrifft?
Unsere Position ist immer sehr klar. Wir stehen an der Seite der Ukraine. Daran hat sich nichts geändert. Das zeigt sich ja auch an den Unterstützungen, die wir insbesondere auch finanziell geben und wo wir auch bei allen Sanktionspaketen, wird ja gerade wieder ein aktuelles auch diskutiert, mit dabei sind. Aber wie gesagt, das ist viel zu früh, sieht man gerade jetzt, wenn man die furchtbaren Bilder auch sieht. Ich glaube, wir sollten auch den Österreichern keine Angst machen. Jede Beteiligung an einer Friedensmission, und wir haben seit den 60er Jahren über 100.000 Soldatinnen und Soldaten in die Missionen auch geschickt, ist eine freiwillige. Es geht nie darum, Grundwehrdiener irgendwo hinzuschicken. Und daher halte ich diese Diskussion, wie gesagt, viel, viel zu früh. Jetzt müssen alle diplomatischen Bemühungen in Richtung Frieden auch gerichtet sein.
Das Thema, nächstes Jahr läuft die UN-Mission in Südlibanon aus. Ist das ein guter Zeitpunkt?
Es ist jetzt einmal gut, dass dieses Jahr noch dazugekommen ist. Das heißt, bis Ende 26, dass ein geordneter Abzug auch möglich ist. Das halte ich für sehr wichtig. Wir haben 167 Soldatinnen und Soldaten im Libanon, erstmalig geführt, auch von der Frau Oberst Eder, von einer Frau. Wir werden die Letzten sein, die dieses Camp Nakur verlassen. Warum? Weil wir insbesondere die ganzen logistischen und die Feuerwehr auch dort im Camp eben übernommen haben. Das heißt, es ist gut, dass ein geordneter Abzug, wie gesagt, durch dieses zusätzliche Jahr möglich ist.
Glauben Sie, dass die Verhandlungen in Washington gescheitert sind?
This is an important meeting today in critical times. Europe must continue supporting Ukraine. Europe must step up its support for Ukraine. There are a number of things what we can do. Of course, military support, financial support, also additional sanctions on Russia, the confiscation of Russian frozen assets. Latvia is doing its part with military support, 0.25%, and will continue doing it. Of course, also the EU membership is on cards. Latvia supports it. We have to move forward also with negotiations with Ukraine on EU membership. On wider defense issues, Europe must step up. We are stepping up. We are creating additional initiatives, financial initiatives, which are important. Latvia also will be using SAFE initiative to have a quite additional financial input into defense. We are willing to achieve NATO military capability targets. So for Latvia already this year it's almost 4%. Next year we are approaching 5% from our GDP to defense. The Baltic defense line, so external EU and NATO border, is crucial in this regard. Of course, we need to develop our military industry, especially new technologies. Again, I would underline that in Latvia's case, when we focus on capabilities, on defense industry, drones, technologies is what is our specialization. So EU institutions like European Defense Agency is important in this regard to promote those capabilities, to promote defense industry, to promote investment in defense in general. So I think Europe is stepping up, but of course there are a lot of homework still to be done. Latvia is doing its homework, but at the same time, yes, we have to move towards wider and bigger also investment in defense and defense industry.
Well, I see the current debate about security guarantees for Ukraine. Would Latvia play a part in that? What kind of part could you play?
It's important one, yes, peace through strength. We must act, negotiate with Russia from positions of strength. So that's why also what happens today, what happens in supporting Ukraine is crucial. There must be unwavering, complete, clear signaling that we will continue supporting Ukraine until the just peace. And that's why, yes, we need also financial and military support Ukraine. We need to negotiate and have a dialogue with the United States. United States are indispensable and critical in this time, also in terms of enablers, in terms of providing backstop, providing additional support. But of course, Europeans must step up what happens in its neighborhood. For Latvia, yes, we are the part of the coalition of the willing. We are willing to contribute. Of course, we need also to see the clear parameters of the peace or the ceasefire. But we are always actively supporting Ukraine, and we will be doing also within a coalition of the willing. At the same time, what Latvia underlines, we are the frontline state. We are on a line with Russia. We are on a border with Russia. We are external border of NATO and EU. So that's why also for us it's important to keep our forces for fulfilling regional plans, that we are also formidable on Latvia's, Estonia's, Lithuania's, on eastern flank soil.
Do you trust in the USA to be part of the security guarantee?
Well, the United States have been vocal that Europeans must step up. This is certainly the role what we have to play. That has been a very successful NATO summit in The Hague, so I don't have any reason to doubt that the United States would not be part of, let's say, wider arrangement to ensure the just peace. We can commend, we can support and appreciate U.S. activities, but certainly also there has been the clear voice that Europe must step up, Europe must take more responsibility, and I think it's absolutely fair and just invitation from the United States.
On the training piece, the HWP wants to change the mandate to make it possible to train Ukrainian soldiers on their own soil. Is that something you would support, even if there is no ceasefire?
To put it shortly, Latvia is supporting actively training missions, UMAM as well. We are training Ukrainian soldiers for years in quite a numbers, 3,000 to 4,000, and we are ready to continue that training in Latvia and also outside Latvia. Of course, we would be also willing to go with training mission as a part of coalition of the willing, but as I mentioned previously, we have to be also clear with the parameters format of the ceasefire or the peace agreement, so then we can already speak about specific details. Now we are continuing our training Ukrainian soldiers permanently in Latvia and outside of Latvia. They within coalition of the willing when coalition of the willing starts to function. So in this case, yes, we would be willing to provide a training mission. Well, we should understand that let's not underestimate what Russia is. Russia has its, of course, brutal approach to the war and complete disregard for human life. But let's not also overestimate what Russia is. It also has, in a sense, bluffing strategies that they are strong and the conditions must be accepted. No, not at all. Let's not underestimate who we are. We have the viable, strong economies. We have the military. Of course, the important part is our commitment, our contribution. So that's why we must continue to speak from positions of strength and act from positions of strength. So unacceptable conditions should not be accepted. The conditions which be accepted by Ukrainian side, these are those conditions what European Union must support. Thank you so much. Thank you.